Greetings, this is Scotty Reed. I am the founder of the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit that primarily works in internet radio and elevating the voices of black people. I'm also the founder and the creator of the Black Talk Radio Network, which again, was founded by the Black Talk Media Project with the mission to elevate the voices of black people. All right, now I want to comment on what Stacy Dash had to say, because apparently, according to her, Black Talk Media Project should not exist and Black Talk Radio Network should not exist. So, but first, let's go ahead and listen to her comments if you have not heard them.
We have to make up our minds. Either we want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're black. If it were the other way around, we would be up in arms. It's a double standard. Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. We're Americans, period. That's it.
Okay, listen. Ms. Dash is certainly entitled to her opinion, but what she is not entitled to is to make up stuff and to be devoid of any kind of factual information whatsoever. You would think that this person, before they made such a factual comment as if they're talking facts, would do a little bit of research. If she had done some research, she would find that not only the BET Awards, which I never watched, never seen one in my life, the NAACP Image Awards, never watched those either. Actually, a couple of years ago, I called for a boycott of the NAACP Image Awards because of who they were giving awards to. And for example, these rappers that produce all of this garbage that is on these radio stations. And so, but BET Awards and also the NAACP Image Awards, they have nominated several white people in the past and have actually, given awards. These people have won these awards. A quick Google search would have revealed that to her. But again, she's part of the Fox News propaganda network, which hates black people, hates non-white people as well. Just because they showcase a black person on their network, that doesn't mean that they're not racist. They use these people as proxies of the system of racism, and Fox News is a very racist propaganda network. Now, what is she talking about? Do we want segregation or integration? First of all, most people in the United States are already segregated. There are very few mixed neighborhoods, unless we're talking about non-white people. Or if we're talking about poor people, you'll find a mixture of poor blacks and poor whites in some of these rural public housing units and whatnot. But for the most part, people segregate themselves because they just like being around people who look like them, who they share a cultural experience with, and things of that nature. All right, so integration was not about us being able to, integrate into white society. It was about public accommodations. It was about, if I jumped in my car on the East Coast and I wanted to travel to the West Coast, of being able to stay in hotels, public hotels, to be able to get gas from public gas stations and people serving the public and whatnot. So that's really what they were fighting for back then. They weren't really fighting to be integrated or to lose themselves and deny their blackness or any of their cultural or ethnic identities. That's not what integration was about. It was about, if black people going to be paying taxes, then we need to have access to, these things that are benefiting from the public infrastructure. All right, so that's she is just totally clueless, and I don't mean to say that as a pun because she starred as a actress in a movie called Clueless, but she seems to be clueless. I don't think Stacy Dash is as ignorant as she comes off. I think that she probably is very intelligent, but she's playing a role. She is an actress, and she's playing the resident proxy racist tool of Fox News. Interesting that she did not mention anything about Fox Latino. I believe is the name of it. Let me pull it up. It is latino.foxnews.com. Is Fox News, okay, segregating Latino viewers from whoever else is watching Fox News? It's interesting how we get selective in who we want to call out, but I understand, Stacy, that Fox News is your current employer, and so, you don't want to make them look bad and be, put in that same category as you put in other people. In terms of black history and this notion that we're all Americans, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous for her to say. We wouldn't need Black History Month if the contributions of black people here in America were included in the regular curriculum that goes out, to the school children and whatnot. When we look at Texas and the issue of them using a textbook that is calling the enslaved Africans, the transatlantic slave trade, and calling them migrants or unpaid interns and things. See, that is why we need our own. We need our own, Stacy. We have to have our own, because when people are in control of your story, then, you're not going to get the truth. I would like to know, why is it that all of these movies about the American Revolution, or everything we read about the American Revolution, it doesn't talk about the black people who were revolutionary soldiers, whether they were fighting on the British side or whether they were fighting on the so-called American side, the side of the colonists. I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. Here in North Carolina, they sent at least 400 free Africans, not enslaved, to fight in the American Revolution. I did not learn that in school. I had to find out on my own, doing some family research, and which led me to do research on the local area that I live in. So it's just ridiculous. The reason that Black Talk Media Project exists is because of an act of racism by a platform called Blog Talk Radio. We had a program on Blog Talk Radio called Black Talk Radio. A bunch of white people didn't think that black people should exist. And I mean, by saying Black Talk Radio shouldn't exist, means that you think that black people should not exist. That we shouldn't come together and talk about issues that are important to us, that are common to us as a distinct group of people here in the United States. I mean, every other group, and even white people, divide themselves according to their ethnic heritage, whether they're German Americans, Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, Irish Americans, Scottish Americans, or whatever, Anglo Americans, whatever, okay? Ain't nothing wrong with it, okay? It is nothing wrong with it. Now, in terms of the Oscars So White, I already made a video about that. When you have the Academy, which nominates people and gives these awards to people, when it is 90% white, and then 90%, not 90% male, but predominantly white males and older white males. And then when you look at how it's politicized, and where, if you want to get nominated or if you want to win the award, you got to grease the palms of the people who vote. Come on, that's a corrupt process. And so, I don't think that people should be looking for validation. I'm talking about black actors and black filmmakers. I don't think they should be looking for validation from the Academy Awards. They should be validated in the fact that they had a film that did well. If it didn't do well and it did poorly, well, you got awarded by nobody going to see the crappy movie that you made. But, again, I represent the Black Talk Media Project, which manages Black Talk Radio Network. The reason we had to create it is because there is a lack of black-owned media in this country. And by the way, I don't know if Stacy Dash knows this or not, but BET is owned by Viacom, which in fact, the chairman of the board is a white person, okay? And this is really capitalism that's at work, okay? BET was founded by black people who saw that there was a lack of black films, black TV shows, a black network, when there was a market. People want to watch that. So capitalism created BET. Capitalism created, the other things that are associated with black people. But I would say this, just like BET, most of the black so-called publications that you see online, news publications, most of them are owned by white corporations, So there really isn't any black-owned media. Is very little black-owned media, and that's why I felt the need to create the Black Talk Media Project to, help black people get their voices elevated through the internet using internet radio technology. If, we had a whole bunch of black radio stations that were talking about important things and not just, entertaining people with silly jokes and strawberry letters about dating and all this kind of crap, that was talking about real political and social issues and trying to come up with solutions of these problems, then there wouldn't be no need for me to even be running Black Talk Media Project. So because there is a lack of real black media or black media that matters, and most of it's entertainment, thus that is why we exist. So Stacy Dash, come on, lady. I mean, you tripping. You really tripping. You need to better inform yourself. And, what does Fox News have to say about Fox Latino? They gonna shut it down? Those are my thoughts. I'm out.